It's the radio show. So let me do a little. Okay, it looks like we're back. Yeah, we're still having a weird little issue here, folks. When we turn on our Ray the Video Guy song, it seems to do something that cuts us off from the Facebook live stream. And I'm not sure what that is. I don't think it's a copyright issue. I think it's literally a tech issue where something, it works perfectly fine before we go live. As soon as we're live and we hit it, it seems to cause an issue. So it's something to do, I think, with the way it's streaming out and the way that is, hell, I don't know. I'm not sure what's causing that, but I'll have to go back to those guys and figure it out. So we're going to continue where we left off. So I want you all to sit back and pretend that you heard our song, and we'll even bob our heads a little bit here. So we'll pretend we had the song. Oh, and here's the card. All right, there's the card for it. And he's Ray the Video Guy. Dun, dun. There's the last note.
And it's the radio show about video marketing madness with Ray the Video Guy, and I'm Steve Sleeper. And, we're on a new podcatcher now, Ray. Google Podcasts. They built a podcatcher just for Androids, and it seems to work pretty well. So we're Apple Podcasts, of course, for an iPhone and all that, and then Google Podcast for the Android, and it's not a big memory hog. And then we're also on Stitcher and the TuneIn app, and there you go.
YouTube and Facebook and everywhere in between.
YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Earn.show.
On the Twitters.
GoVMM.com. So we're everywhere. But I look forward to hearing more about Movo.
Yes, indeed. So it's a great little company. I've been using their microphones for years. And I actually used to sell their microphones. But what I used to do is I used to go and buy a whole bunch of them from them, store them in my office here, and then mail them out to people when I needed to. But now we've got this great partnership that the two of us have put together. So all you have to do is follow my link. You can pick up whatever you want. Oh, and guess what? You can get it at the nice low prices. I had to charge higher prices. So you can actually get these now at a nice low price, and works out well for everybody. So, and by the way, great partners. They're actually doing an article on me that will be coming out sometime in the near future. I'm not exactly sure when. So we just did that interview recently, and we've got Steve, I was talking to you about it earlier, later this year, and feel free to ask me about this, guys. You can message me. But later this year, we're going to be doing a marketer's cruise, a Ray the Video Guy related marketer's cruise, where everybody will be invited to come and join us on the high seas for what we're calling the Profit Pirates. So we're going to be the Profit Pirates on the high seas, and Movo is going to be a part of that in some way. We don't know exactly what that's going to be, but they will either be there or we'll have product there and things like that. So it's going to be a lot of fun, a great partnership with these guys. Again, I love their products. You'll be seeing a lot more reviews that I do for these products. I've already done a few in the past, but we'll be doing a lot more reviews for the different products as time goes on. Great partner, great products, love them. Use their stuff every day. This microphone stand that we showed earlier, I use this every time I shoot, because what people may not realize is when I do my videos, I use my iPhone. I've got over here, I've got some really nice cameras, some expensive cameras, but when I do my own shooting, I do my iPhone because I can pop it up onto one of these Movo stands. I can shoot myself and stream it right back to my computer. I don't have to deal with cards and wires and everything else. And, the quality is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with the quality. So
yeah,
we love
it.
So believe it or not, even though...
For the application you're using it for, it's just fine.
Hey, the way I see it is Rolls-Royce, or it might have been Bentley, kind of the same company, I think, anyway, but I believe it's Bentley. They did an entire commercial for one of their $200,000 cars, completely shot on iPhones and edited on an iPad. So if a company selling $200,000 cars can make commercials, then I'm sure that I could make silly little videos about, Camtasia or ScreenFlow or something like that. So why not, right? It's a lot easier to do that, and I can shoot myself. I don't need to have a camera person there to do all that work for me. With my other cameras, I actually need to have a person to set it up. I've tried doing it myself, and I get back, and it's completely out of focus, and I had no idea it was out of focus the whole time because I thought it was in focus. But with this, the iPhone, you can see it. It's going to automatically make sure it's in focus, and all that stuff's going to be done for you. So love doing that. And that's what we want to talk about today. We want to talk about shooting pro video with your smartphone, because believe it or not, we have wonderful, beautiful movie-making machines that we stick right in our pockets. And we don't use it enough. Most of us don't anyway. We think we need these big fancy equipment. But honestly, in most cases, we can use a smartphone if we're smart about it to shoot our professional videos. So I do my green screening. My green screen is right over here. And I do my green screen videos with my iPhone. I stick it on the Movo Photo stand. I use my lights. I've got lights all around the room here that I use, a big array of them. I've got a tripod. And that's pretty much it. And all of it's done just like that. Now, what you want to be able to do, the big thing with smartphones is, let me pull up a smartphone here just a second. Smartphones are fantastic because they've got these wonderful cameras, but there is limitations, of course. When you're talking about a smartphone, you're talking about a lens. There's your lens. It's a very, very small lens in your smartphone. So what does that mean? Does that mean that the image quality is going to be much lower? Not necessarily. You can have a very good image quality. A lot of that has to do with the internals of the smartphone. So if you've got a good smartphone with good internals, you can get a really good picture. The problem with one of these little tiny lenses is they don't bring in as much light. And of course, literally the word photo and photograph means light. How much light can you get in there? Because the pictures are made with light. And that's the case with your smartphones, or if you buy a $20,000 camera. You need good light. Now, with a smartphone, you need a lot better light. And the reason for that is that tiny little lens needs more to produce a good quality picture, which means that if you're shooting outside, you're perfectly fine because you're not going to get a better light than the sun, even on an overcast day. In fact, an overcast day is probably your best day to do it. But there's so much light outside that this little lens performs extremely well. When you get inside, it's a little bit tougher, and a nice big professional camera with a big lens that's, the size of a softball, that's going to bring in a lot more light, and you're going to get a good picture inside an office environment. However, as long as you can improve your lighting, you can get a really good image indoors as well. So the first thing that we're going to recommend is that you get a good set of lights. Now, if you think about this, your iPhone, we're going to call the iPhone or whatever smartphone you use as being a free camera. And the reason for that is whether you're going to shoot anything or not, you've already got this. So you're paying for this as a communications device, as a portable device. So the fact that it's a camera, theoretically, it doesn't cost you anything because you've already got it. Okay, so you think you're cutting out anywhere from $500 for a halfway decent little camera at Best Buy up to $30,000 for a really nice professional level camera. So you figure you're replacing that out of there, okay? So you're saving all that money there. We'll say $1,000 you're saving by using your phone, even though some of these phones cost $1,000. But we'll cut that cost out of there. So on top of that, what do you need? Well, you're going to need lights, like we said. The best thing to do is to head over to a place like Amazon, where you can get a lighting kit. Now, a lighting kit is usually going to consist of 3 lights, maybe 2 lights, depends on which one you get, and a couple of light stands. Some of them have 4 lights in them. You want to pick up a kit that's going to have a handful of lights, so either 3 and maybe 2. I'd go with the 3 set of lights. And they're going to come on the little stands. So you get the stands, you get the lights, and you're probably going to pay anywhere from $100 to $300. So it just depends on which ones you want to get. Quite honestly, the ones I have, I think the whole kit cost $150, and I've had them for 10 years. And they're fantastic. It's just very simple. It's just a screw-in socket, and it uses a special light bulb. And, we get a lot of good quality picture. Now, I've actually got 4 of them in here because I bought at Christmas time last year, they had a sale on a set of lights. I think it was like $100. And for the $100, I got 2 more lights with the big giant soft boxes around the lights. It also came with a background and a green screen. So I got all of that for $100, and it came in a case. So you got the case and all this stuff, so you can pack it up, all for $100. I mean, a heck of a deal, right? And you're probably not going to find that outside of Christmas time unless they're running a special for another reason. But you can get a good set of lights anywhere from $100 to $300. Now, when you get these lights, what I like, and there's a lot of different options out there, I like to get the light kits that have a standard light socket in them. There are going to be some that have very specialized work light style lights in them, but I like the ones that have the regular sockets. And the reason that I like the regular sockets is you can get these fluorescent bulbs that fit into regular sockets they're massive. I used the example of a softball earlier. They're the size of two softballs next to each other, these light bulbs. So they're very big, but it's those curly Q bulbs that you'd get for your regular sockets, except imagine them being 4 times larger than they normally are and much, much brighter. So you can get those. They still screw into a regular light socket, so you can use them in these stands very easily. And they're a little expensive. I think each of the light bulbs is probably going to cost you $20. Depending on where you get them. I think you can get them at Lowe's for like $13, but they're indoor lights. I like to buy the outdoor colored lights. So the outdoor colored lights I have to special order from Amazon. I think I get them for $20 to $30 a piece. And the reason that I get those is in an office environment, you're often going to have light coming in from the windows. And so if you've got the light from the sun coming in the windows, filling up the room, and you've got lights inside that are incandescent, they're not going to mix well. And you're going to get a lot of weird issues where the color white is either blue or it's orange. And so if you get outdoor colored lights, which is much more blue, then you can actually let the sun filter in all at once, use those lights. You're not going to get a mix of colors, and everything's going to look good. So that's why I like those. In my office in California, where I had, not only did I have these lights with the indoor lights, but I actually had recessed lighting in the office with regular light bulbs, and I bought the regular curly Q size bulbs in daylight. So you can actually get regular bulbs in daylight color, and I actually had the whole room lit up with daylight color lights. So that was a very useful thing. If you get LED lights, which are getting much better. They used to be very expensive, but as we showed with the Movo one here, this one I think is like $30. A similar light array with a bunch of LEDs in it used to cost a couple $100, and now you can get them for $30 to $50. If you get a really nice one with a lot of LEDs in it, you can adjust the color, daylight and incandescent color light, so you can actually switch it in there, or you can use a filter on them. But if you use LEDs, that's great as well. They're a little more expensive still, but those are really fantastic lights. You can dim them, and you can get a few different sizes and do different things with them. But the big thing here is you want to get a good amount of light. You want to have enough light to really fill that room up, especially if you're going to be doing green screen. And this doesn't, this has nothing to do with using your smartphone. This is just in general. If you're going to use a green screen of any kind, you need to have that really well lit and as even as possible. So in here, for instance, I've got the green screen wall, which I used green screen paint, and I used real green screen paint. I actually went and bought the Roscoe green screen chroma key paint. It's not really any more expensive than a regular can of paint, a little more, but what it does is it gives you the perfect color for a green screen, and it's set up in a way that the light reflects off it in a certain way so that it doesn't get you those bright and dark spots. It kind of evens it out a little bit. And there's been tests done that show that it really does. It actually is different. You point the lights at a regular green wall, you point it at the Roscoe green wall, and the light spreads a lot better. So what I have is I've got my two soft lights kind of angled off to the sides towards the green screen, and those are there just to light the green screen. So that light just filters in and covers the green screen wall. And then I stand a few feet away from the wall, so there's a good space between me and the wall there. And then I use my other two lights to light me. And so that way I'm lit and that's lit. Now, if you have an extra light, one thing that you really can do that can make a difference, and I actually need to purchase one. I had one, and something happened to it in one of these moves across the country. I don't know when. Actually, I know where the light itself is, but I don't know where the little stand went. But you can have what's called a backlight. And what a backlight is that gives you a light that hits the back of you and the top of your head and your shoulders from behind. So you'd put that up above you and behind, and it would shoot down at you. And what that does is it just gives you a little highlight across your head and shoulders, and it really separates you from that background. And it can make the green screening a little bit easier, and it just gives you that little bit of edge that that looks really good. And it's something that I need to add to mine, which I don't have right now. But definitely something worth having. So I highly recommend that if you get the chance, you go get one of those, because that can be a big help for you. The other thing that can make a big difference is if you've got fluorescent lights in your room, in your ceiling, and you don't want to spend all this money on these extra lights here, you can actually get fluorescent light tubes that are daylight balanced, and you can even get ones that are specific for photography. And the reason you would do that is it's tough to tell when you look at these lights. They just look like lights in the ceiling. We actually have in here in this office building, that's what we have is the regular fluorescent tubes. But if you ever shoot a video with those lights turned on and you were to go frame by frame and watch your video, you'll notice that your skin tones will be, in one frame they'll be slightly green, and the next one they'll be slightly pink. The next one they'll be slightly yellow, then they'll be green again. And you'll see these changes in the light. Normally, watching the video at regular speed, you're not really going to notice that until you know it's there and you can start to really see it. Most people wouldn't notice it. You don't notice it when you look at the lights, but those fluorescent tubes, they're not consistent. They constantly change. Well, you can get special photography tubes that are balanced, and they don't do that. And they're a little more expensive, obviously, but they can make a difference for your lighting if you're using fluorescent bulbs. But quite honestly, I like to use real lights. And again, for $150, $200, you can get a really good set that's going to help make a difference. So that's the first thing you need to know is lighting is very important when you're using a phone, specifically because of the very small lenses that don't allow as much light to get in as a big lens would. So, and that's why if you're a photographer, you know what I'm talking about here. Most of your smartphones, their f-stops are higher. They don't get down as low. So with a really nice one, you might get down to an f1.4, but you're not going to get that with a phone. Maybe you'll get 1.8. Some of the phones I think can get to 1.4, but anyway, people that don't understand that are going, what the heck is he talking about? But it basically has to do with the way the iris works and and some of the levels that you can set. And it's a little tougher with a smartphone because of those small lenses. So if you get enough light, you can do really, really well, but you definitely need that light. So part 2 here, the next big thing that you absolutely, positively need if you're going to shoot with your smartphone is an external microphone. There is absolutely nothing worse than somebody using their smartphone, videotaping themselves and using the built-in microphone with the camera, 2, 3, 4, even 7 feet away, and you can barely understand what they're saying. It doesn't sound good. Nobody wants to listen to it. And by the way, this goes the same if you're using a camera as well. So if you're using an actual video camera and you're using that on-camera mic, it's the same thing. From a few feet away, it's just not going to sound good. It's going to be very hollow sounding. People aren't going to like it. And quite honestly, when people are watching a video, they need good sound. If they don't have good sound, they're going to turn your video off. They'll forgive if your video is dark. They'll forgive if your video is, staticky or, the video's not great looking, but they can hear you. They'll forgive the visuals if they can hear what you're saying. If they can't hear what you're saying, even if you have a beautiful picture, they're going to shut it off. And I see this all the time in sales videos. People take the time to do a sales video for their great product, and they're shooting it in this beautiful location, and they've got a really nice visual, and you can tell they're using the on-screen camera and that the on-screen camera is across the room. And it just sounds terrible. So with a smartphone, it's a little bit different than with your average camera. With your average camera, you can take a lapel mic and you can plug it in, and it uses the regular old standard headphone style jack. It's called a TRS, and the TRS will plug into your camera and it'll work perfectly fine. If you stick that TRS into your smartphone, it's not going to work. The reason for that is the smartphones use what's called TRRS. So it fits in the same socket, but it's actually a slightly different connection. And the way you can tell is if you look at your headphones that you use with your smartphone that have the microphone built in and can control the camera. If you look at the end of that where it plugs in, it's going to have 3 rings on it. So where you plug, the actual part that plugs into the phone has 3 rings on that. If it's a regular TRS, it's only going to have 2 rings. And so if you've got a microphone and that end only has 2 rings on it, it's not going to work in your smartphone. So what we have is we have a variety of microphones that are available that actually work with your smartphone. And if you're watching on video, I've got it right here. So you can see this lapel mic and nice long cord. This is an 18-foot cord here with the little smartphone button on there. You can see this is the Movo microphone. There's a little button there that says on and off. It's actually upside down right now. but that on-off switch allows you to turn it off, which is for your smartphone, or turn it on, which will work with your regular camera. So this is a dual-purpose microphone here, and it has the connection with the 3 prongs so that it works inside of your smartphone. And without the 3 prongs, like I said, it's not going to work. And I'm holding it up there. You can see those 3 black circles there if you're looking at it on video. 1, 2, 3. And a regular headphone would only have 2 of those. So that's how you can tell the difference between the 2. So what you need to do is you need to buy either an adapter or a specialized microphone. So this Movo microphone sells for $20. You can get it right now. You can head over to raisebonuses.com/Movo. And if you go in there, you'll be able to find, just look up smartphone audio. And the one that I use is the LV1, but there's a few different varieties in there that you can get. There's even ones specifically for like the iPhone 10, which has the lightning connector. And there's one with a USB-C connector specifically for some of the new Android phones that don't have traditional plugs in them. With the traditional ones, you can use the little adapter that comes with your phone. So, for instance, I've got the iPhone here, and it has the little lightning connector, so the little pigtail adapter, and you can attach that, and it works perfectly fine. So you can get that. Again, that's only $20. They also sell adapters at Movo, which you can use with, so if you've got a traditional lapel microphone and you want to adapt it to work with your phone, you can get that. At Movo, I believe it's only like $9, so you can check that out there as well. But quite honestly, the microphone is only $20, and it works with your smartphone and it works with your camera. So great little versatile camera, a microphone rather. But you need that specialized microphone in order to connect with your smartphone. Now at Movo, and again, I don't want this to be the Movo show, but they specialize in this exact purpose, which is working with your smartphones. They have wireless microphones that you can use that attach to your smartphone. They have shotgun microphones that will attach to your smartphone. So all of these different tools that you can get that will work with that, because you want to have good sound. A lapel microphone can be great. Another great option that I used to use all the time is a shotgun microphone. A shotgun microphone is the one that you see a lot of times if you see like a TV show where they're showing you behind the scenes and you see that big, long microphone that the guy is holding up in the air and pointing at people. That's a shotgun microphone. Those are fantastic. I actually have a stand that I use, and I put the shotgun microphone on the stand and point it at me. The sound is fantastic. In fact, it's a better sound than most of the lapel microphones. It's just really very rich, deep, nice sound that you get out of that. But these lapel microphones, they work perfectly fine, and they certainly work a whole lot better than trying to use the on-camera microphone. So highly recommend you get one of these lapel mics. Again, only $20. Just go to raisebonuses.com/Movo. You'll be able to find it on there. And again, they've got a variety of them, so you can get one for your particular purpose. Another type of microphone that you could use is you could actually use something like your Yeti microphone. There's no reason you can't record your audio and with the Yeti while you're doing a video. In fact, some of the Yeti microphones actually have what's called an XLR output, so you can actually plug it into traditional audio equipment, so you don't have to use the USB. And that works really well also. So if you can get one of those. But basically the bottom line is you don't want to be using the on-camera microphone. So get something that will work for you. Another popular microphone is the Rode Smart Lav. Again, it's the same thing basically as the Movo mic, except at 3 times the price. But it basically does the same thing. It allows you to plug your microphone into your smartphone and use the lapel mic. So microphones, very, very important. You want to get everything that you can get. I don't recommend, by the way, some people say, well, use your headphones with the little microphone on there. Those are great for making phone calls. They don't sound so good with video. They might be better than the on-camera microphone, so you may want to try it. But when I've tried it, it didn't sound great. I wasn't impressed by doing that. So I would highly recommend that you get the lapel microphone. It's the easiest one. Again, this one is a wired microphone, so you literally just plug it into your phone and, you use it right there. The wireless ones are great. It comes with a pack. You put the pack on your belt or in your pocket. You put the lapel mic on you. The other half of it sits on top of this here. So it sits on top of your camera and your tripod, and you can attach it. In this case here, and for those of you not watching, I'm showing the Movo stand here with the light. You can actually put that on top of here. So if you've got your your receiver, you can put the receiver right, attach it on here, and so now you've got a rig with your phone, the light, and then on top of that, you've got your receiver. So it's nice and easy, all in one pack, very compact. You can also just, attach your receiver. A lot of people use Velcro and just stick it on their tripod. So there's a lot of different options for that. But the wireless one's fantastic. When it comes to wireless mics, I don't want to get too detailed on this, but just be careful with your wireless mics. There are different kinds. You have UHF, you have VHF, and then you have your 2.4 gigahertz microphones as well. The UHF are fantastic. They work really well. The VHFs can be fantastic. You just have to be careful because they will pick up other things. So, for instance, in the old days, if people had one of those portable phones and you were using a VHF wireless microphone, you might pick up somebody's conversation if they're using one of those old portable phones. So those aren't really in use anymore, so probably not a big deal. They can pick up, for instance, if your cell phone rings, a lot of times the VHFs will pick up not the conversation, but when the phone rings, you can actually hear something on the microphone, and you go, oh, somebody's phone must be ringing, because it'll go just this weird. It's not even a tone. It's like I don't even know how to describe it. It's kind of like what I did, and you can hear it on there. So that's something to be careful with. The VHFs are fine. You just have to be careful with that and understand that you can pick up other things. They're a lot cheaper. UHFs are usually double the price. So if you see a microphone set that's $100, a wireless microphone set, check it out, because if it's a VHF, you just have to be careful of that. I do have VHF systems, and I've used them many times, and I've never had any issues. In fact, at one point, I still have it here. It's over in my drawer over here. I just picked it up at Radio Shack. It was a VHF wireless mic set, and it cost, I don't know, $80 or something like that, and I've never had any issues with it. It works perfectly fine, but you do have to be careful with that. The 2.4 gigahertz, I don't know as much about those. I haven't seen those until recently, so I'm not sure. 2.4 gigahertz, that puts it into the old phone range as well, so that may pick up some things. I'm not sure. It's definitely less expensive than the UHFs, and I see great reviews of them. I'm going to be getting one so I can test it out shortly, which will be exciting. But it's got great reviews. I've never used it, so I'm not sure on the 2.4 gigahertz ones, but they seem to do well, so we'll find out for sure. But just be aware that non-UHF, you could pick up some signals elsewhere, but they're pretty good microphones overall. So that is microphones. And as I said, you need one. Get one. All right, so the next thing that you're going to want if you're going to be doing smartphone shooting is you're going to need, some sort of stabilization, whether it's a tripod or something similar. You're going to need something to stabilize your phone. So what we recommend is getting yourself a tripod. And if you're going to be just shooting in your office, you're not going to be running around and doing heavy duty type things, you can get a fairly inexpensive tripod from Best Buy for $50, $80, maybe even $20. It depends on which one you get. Understand they're very fragile. If you get one there that's $80 or $90, it might be pretty good. If you get the ones that are $20 and $30, they can be good, but you just have to be careful with them. I can tell you right now, I've got my webcam right here. If you're watching, you can see me pointing at it, is on one of those really cheap, $20 at Best Buy tripods. And I specifically used that because it's very small. I wanted one that was very small that can sit on my desk and shoot. So I could use this and make it nice and tall to shoot regular things, but I wanted a nice small one. I also have over here another webcam that I put above here. That one also is on a fairly cheap tripod. That one's probably more in the $80 range at Best Buy sort of deal. Again, if you were to bring it around with you all the time, shooting different things, opening and closing it, you're going to break it at some point in time. It's just a guarantee. They're not built for that kind of thing. But when these two just sit here all day long and they never move, they work perfectly fine. And then over in the back, in my studio, I've actually got a really nice heavy-duty tripod, which, believe it or not, that thing is about 22 years old now. So I've had it forever. It's a very strong Bojan tripod. The only thing about it is that the head on it is so old that you can't get the parts to replace on it anymore if you need to replace it. But getting a new head for that set, isn't too bad, so I could always do that. But it works perfectly fine. But the point being is you need to have something to stabilize your videos. That one's a $300 set of legs from 20 years ago. These two are in the $30 to $80 range, and I've got a variety of other ones. You can also get a monopod. A monopod is just a one pole that you can put on the ground and you hold it. Not going to be as stable as legs. You need somebody to actually hold it, of course, but you can shoot with that and it would work perfectly fine. There are also stabilizers, so you can get either the handheld, manual stabilizers. You can get electric ones. I've got one that I invested in called the Smove, SMOVE. And what that one does is it's got a handle, and then it's got, an electric gimbal on it. And so you can wiggle it around and move it, and it keeps the camera stabilized the whole time. And it's all done with, electric balancing and, I don't know, some sort of gypsy magic or something. And it works really, I wouldn't say it works fantastically, but it works pretty darn well. So there's a lot of those types of products out there. There's also the ones you may have seen that you can put it on the ground and the camera sits in it and it's got a handle that comes over the top and you can pick it up and move it around and it stabilizes the image. So anything like that will work really well. But of course, if you're using your smartphone, all of those things are built for video cameras, not for smartphones. So you will need some sort of adapter or some sort of mount that's going to hold your camera. And this one here that I'm showing in the camera here is the Movo, and you can see it's got a level on it, so you can check your balance. You put your phone inside of here. It's a lot more stable than some of the ones that we used to get out of China that only cost us $1 to get, $2 to get. They worked perfectly fine. There was nothing wrong with them. But this is a lot more stable. It gives you access to attach lights to it, to attach microphones to it, and really do some cool things. It's got the level built into it. So just very good stuff. And you can use this one on pretty much anything. So if I've got this one on here right now on a tiny little tripod that I put on my desk. You can put it on a regular tripod. And here's a dirty little secret that I'm going to share with you guys that is going to make you laugh. So a lot of people, they don't have a tripod, but maybe they've got one of these little stands for their smartphone, and it's got the screw on the bottom. Well, what are you going to attach it to? You don't have a tripod. You can't attach it to that. It's not going to stand up on its own. So what can you do? Well, believe it or not, your living room lamp, okay? Most living room lamps that have the little screw on the top with the screw-on lampshade, if you take one of those, you remove that lampshade, guess what's at the top of that? Well, it's got a little thread, a little screw that sticks up, a little post that's threaded. That's most of the time, not universal, but, well, it is universal, but, there's going to be exceptions. Most of the time, your little head holder here for your tripod will screw into those lamps, and then you can put that lamp on a table or on the ground, and now you've got your own homemade tripod. So just a dirty little secret that you can go out and try. Now I'm going to get people that are going to say, oh, I tried that and it wasn't the right size. Well, most of them are the right size. They're that size, so it should work. But that's one little secret that you can mess around with to get it stabilized there. But very important that you get your image stabilized because you don't want it to be all over the place. And that's one way you can do that is by picking up, some sort of a tripod. I would go to Best Buy and get a small one to start with. And then if you need a more heavy-duty one, go to Amazon, go to B&H Photo, pick up one there. Unfortunately, Movo doesn't sell tripods, so we can't get you one out of there, but you can get it at B&H, you can get it at Amazon, and get a nice one. There's actually a lot of different brands, and there's a couple of newer brands that they're very nice looking tripods and still very expensive. So you're not going to be spending $500 or $1,000. You can get some decent ones for $100 to $200. So you figure if you're going to get a tripod, let's say you get a decent one at $200. You spent $200 on your lighting kit. You're at $400. You got $20 for your microphone. So for $420, you're using your smartphone and getting amazing results at this point in time. And by the way, if you went to Best Buy and you purchased a video camera let's say the video camera is better than your smartphone. Well, you're going to spend $400 or $500 just on that camera, and guess what? You still need to have lights and microphones. So why not put the money into the lights and microphones, use your smartphone, and get amazing pictures, which you can then bring into your computer. You can edit them just like any other type of video. You can do your green screening, you can add your graphics, and you can have amazing videos. Now, I know some of you might be saying, well, yeah, but I can't walk into, a lawyer's office or a dentist's office with an iPhone and shoot. Well, why not? I used to have the same fear. But you know what? It's all about the end results. And if you get the end results for these guys, they're not going to care about that. They may say something at first, but when they see the beautiful visuals that they get out of it, the video that you make, it's not going to be a big deal. Remember, you're not shooting TV commercials. You're shooting digital video. And using your smartphone is one of the easiest ways to get a great professional video image, as long as you're willing to put in a little bit of extra effort to make sure that it works. And the great thing is, even if you had a $20,000 camera, you'd still need a tripod. You'd still need lighting. So why not use what you have? Just use it better and get a great result. Because remember, these guys right here, these smartphones, we're talking about 4K video, beautiful color, these high resolution videos. 10 years ago, you'd be getting an SD camera that costs $20,000 that isn't going to take nearly the picture that this is going to take. This is going to blow away a $20,000 camera from 10 or 20 years ago. So think about that. You could be having stuff that's way more professional than stuff from 20 years ago, all in your pocket. You just have to be willing to use it. Make sure that you get the things that you need, and you'll have a beautiful video in the end. So there you go. What do you think of that, Steve?
Yeah, good stuff, Ray. That really is the way to shoot videos. Now, the Movo kit that you've been talking about, and if you're watching the video, you've seen, and if you're not watching the video, you want to go somewhere to look at it or buy. Where do you get that at? RaisBonuses.com/MOVO for Movo. And you mentioned the kit, and I mentioned the other day in social media and emails about a kit. So they actually put together a lot of these products into one package that you can get. So the one that we had actually sent out was the one that I preferred, because what it had in it was, it had a light, it had the mount to your tripod. It also had a wireless microphone, so it had the transmitter and the receiver along with the lapel microphone, and had a few other things in there. It had a remote control, so if you're shooting yourself, by the way, this is something I need to get my hands on, one of those. They didn't have them before. This is something new that they have in there. So it's just a little button that you can press. So if your smartphone is across the room, you've got it pointed on you and you're ready to start, you don't have to walk over, hit start, walk back and do your thing. You just press that little button and it's going to start recording for you, so that comes with it. There might be a couple other things in there. I can't remember exactly what other things came in there, but it's quite a little kit. It has a lot of really neat things in there that can really get you started immediately, all in one package. You don't have to piece it all together. So nice little pack. Nice little pack indeed. Sounds like it. Now, you know what we should do next week? Last week, you were at a high-end marketing group for attorneys. They had their conference in Hawaii.
Yep.
And you've been telling me some stuff, and of course we're out of time this week, but you've been telling me some stuff that you learned and things that were talked about. You should kind of recap some of that next week. That would be a really good show.
Yeah, so maybe we'll do that. Maybe next week, I know I said we'd mention a little bit here, but maybe next week we'll do a show specifically about the things that we talked about there, because there's a lot of stuff. We had a lot of people talking. I can tell you the big thing that was talked about was video. That was the one thing that was consistently talked about the entire time, whether it was, creating video or advertising, which was the big thing. So people are very, very much into YouTube ads, Hulu ads, and other digital video ads. So that was the big topic throughout the entire week. Now, obviously, a lot of the stuff they talked about was specifically about law. So they were talking about, case law and things like that. But the second day was all about marketing, digital marketing and whatnot. And so a lot of it was about video. A lot of it was about SEO, Google My Business, things like that. All the stuff that they were really, wanting to make sure that they're doing. So this was what they wanted to talk about, the attorneys. And so it really helped me to know, okay, this is what they're looking for. They are looking for YouTube ads. They are looking for Hulu. 6 months ago, because this event they do every 6 months. 6 months ago, there was no talk of Hulu whatsoever. This time, multiple people brought it up. Multiple attorneys brought it up. as being such a big deal. And I find it funny because, my prediction was that Hulu was going to be the big thing coming up this year, and I've been working really hard getting things set up to offer Hulu as a big service. So I was surprised when I got there that all of a sudden all these guys are talking about it, and I'm like, man, I thought I was on the cutting edge, but apparently everybody's already there. Not already but already talking about it. So,
but it's good you're there because now you can help them. And the big thing for them is that it's a way to reach the cord cutters. It's a way to get their message in front of eyeballs in a way that they can't get their message in front of eyeballs anywhere else.
And we'll go over some of that next week. But it's a real problem. We're talking about in the last 2 years. So this past year in 2017. The number of people watching traditional TV dropped 13%. And the year before, it dropped 12%. So that's a lot of people. On top of that, you got the smaller audience now, but that smaller audience, about 50% of them are using DVRs, which actually I was surprised. I think my guess is it's much higher than that. But supposedly only 50% are using DVRs. And of those 50%, 90% skip commercials. So if you're paying for a commercial to be on, this week's episode of Law & Order, guess what? These people are skipping your commercials. So that's why they want to get to the cord cutters. I had a talk with YouTube recently, and they recommended if they were already doing TV, that they take 18% of their TV budget and move it to YouTube ads. That's what they recommend to do. And by the way, that was one of the big talking points was, should I move my stuff from TV to YouTube and Hulu? That was a big, and many people talked about it throughout the week. It was brought up over and over again, that same topic. So people are ready to move their stuff from TV to places like Hulu. And that means that if you understand Hulu, you've got an opportunity at a time when they want to do that. And believe me, if we don't move fast, the people that sell them their TV spots are going to start offering Hulu. They're going to start offering YouTube ads. And we're going to be in the same position as when Yellow Pages started offering websites. They don't know what they're doing, and they're going to do it anyway. So you need to get in there quick and make sure that you do it instead of those guys. You don't want them doing it. So there you go.
Next week.
We'll
expound next week on that because I found that fascinating. So, okay, well, another fine program, Ray. And,
indeed it was.
Yeah.
And so next week we'll talk a little recap on that and have a little fun with that. And we'll see what we can do. So, like I always say, everything that we talked about today works, but only if you do. And, of course, today's episode was made possible by the fine folks at Movo Photo, where you can get things like lapel microphones that work on your smartphone. You can get lights that attach to your tripod. You can get stands that hold your iPhone or your smartphone so that you can start doing the videotaping. And you can attach your lights and your microphones to that. And you can build this Frankenstein monster of video awesomeness right there with all these parts that you can get at Movo by heading on over to raisebonuses.com/Movo, M-O-V-O. Not to be confused with Mevo. This is Movo, M-O-V-O.
Or Mimo.
Or Mimo. So, so we run our show with Mimo. We use the Mevo cameras, and we buy equipment for our cameras from Movo. So there you go. I'll confuse everybody. raisebonuses.com/M-O-V-O, Movo. There you go.
And let's wrap it up with the jingle.
All right, let's see. Let's see if it'll kick us off, but we'll do it anyway. So here we go. See you later, guys.
He's Ray the video guy, yeah, Ray the video guy. His skill is where it's at, even if he's a little fat. He's filled with video expertise and has so much knowledge that you need. His YouTube ninja tricks can make your marketing so sick. He's Ray the video guy, yeah, Ray the video guy.